Hello, beautiful friends. As many of you know, I am going through a really big personal shift in my life. I immigrated to Sweden this year. I'm exploring who I'm becoming. I'm getting a lot clearer on the work I want to bring to this space and to the world. And with that is coming a lot of experimentation in this space. We're trying out different things. We're exploring how we can work with all of this stuff, the archetypes of tarot and astrology, the way we can reclaim all of this, getting a little deeper, digging into some truer, deeper, nourishing stuff. And with that, I decided to take a little break from doing the structured monthly readings. However, then I got to thinking, and it was like, I really like sharing those core messages for each sign. I feel like there's something really nice about having a bit of a little note handed to you at the beginning of May, just imagining somebody coming in with a tray, delivering you a little letter that you open up, and it's got those couple things to just keep in mind and take with you and nourish with you as you move through the month of May. After all, this May is powerful. It is eclipse season, with the 1st of May kind of being ushered in by the Taurus eclipse, and then followed up by the Scorpio total lunar eclipse. It's Mercury retrograde season. It's a shift from Jupiter and Pisces to Jupiter and Aries. This is a really potent month ahead, and it's one where I feel like I would love to give all of you a little keynote, some questions that you can work with and explore throughout the month for each of your signs, and maybe even a card that can just give you that really precise feedback. So I thought this would be a really fun way to do this because I already miss you all. And I will create little chapters so that you can jump to your sign, because I know not everybody's going to want to watch all 12 keynotes, though you might be interested at what's going on with everybody. So that's what we're going to do here today. I hope you enjoy. This is an experiment. So we'll see how we like it. We'll see how we feel about it, how I feel about it, how you feel about it, and then we'll go from there, because right now in my life, it's all about just seeing what happens when we try out new things and not being scared to get my toes wet. So let's go. Hello, Aries. You know I wasn't going to just leave you without your monthly wink. It's so important. And this is a really potent month for Aries because of the fact that Jupiter is meeting up with you on May 10th. Jupiter hasn't been in your sign since 2010. So we are coming full circle with Jupiter entering your sign. Jupiter is also entering a new 12-year cycle, and you are entering a new 12-year cycle. So this is really beautiful, expansive energy. Both Venus and Jupiter want you to play. Be in touch with your inner flame. Be in a playful, curious mindset. I often think of Jupiter as like this big spotlight. It just shines super bright on whatever it is that is longing to be expressed and expanded in your life. So you'll start to explore this energy. The eclipses are also going to be happening in energy that is going to ask you to feel like you are enough wherever you are in the journey. So if you feel like you need to be more successful, have more of something, be done with your healing journey, feel more at peace with something, whatever it is that you feel you have set a challenge for yourself with, be okay with where you are in that journey, even if it feels like it's not the place you would like to be. The more that you find some peace within that and allow yourself to feel the enoughness, the more you're going to be able to see how to move forward. So with that in mind, and this is a Mercury retrograde month as well, I want to mention in your a sign in Gemini that has to do so much with your communication and the way you share and express your heart. So here is how it's going to go. Here are some questions to take with you this month. Do you have a core belief that it's safe and allowed to be wherever you are in the journey? Or do you have a core belief that you always have to have follow-up action and be pushing and pursuing in order to feel safe? Can you let that go? Can you let yourself feel safe wherever you are right now and just focus on taking care of that beautiful, sacred Aries flame and getting back into touch with what brings you joy, because what you're really going to be after this May is going to be following the heat, following the fire in your belly, following the thing that makes you feel warm and alive, and letting yourself feel safe in that, letting yourself know that is enough. The Four of Pentacles shows up. Oh, our good friend, the Four of Pentacles. So this is a message about things that you are ready to take a step forward on and change. Maybe it makes you a little nervous. Maybe you feel a little bit like everything's going to fall apart if you go for that thing that you are longing for. And the Four of Pentacles I always find to be an important message because it is honoring and acknowledging that part of ourselves that feels not ready and says there's going to be some other day where I'm ready. But it's okay to feel that and to feel a little nervous about taking a step forward in a new direction. But you're also being called. So this is a time to integrate and take care of the part of yourself that's resisting it a little bit, and then also open and relax into it a little bit more. So have a beautiful May, my beautiful Aries friends. Hi, beautiful Taurus. Okay, so this May, of course, happy birthday, May Taurus is out there. Love you so much. Your season is full of potency. It is eclipse season. We start off the month with coming off the tail end of the solar eclipse in your sign, followed up by the Scorpio total lunar eclipse on the 15th. So these eclipses are asking you to redefine your life path and get really clear on it, simplify, focus in. This is also a highly spiritual month for you because Jupiter and Venus, your ruling sign, are going to be moving through your 12th house of spirit. So it's going to have a lot more emphasis during this Taurus season and during this month of May in the non-physical and the hidden. So it's important you prioritize feeling good in that space, feeling that sense of trust in something bigger, and let everything flow from there. As we move through Mercury retrograde in Gemini and Gemini season in general, and Mars moving into Gemini as well, it's about allowing the life force to move through you. So you're connecting into that spirit, you're connecting into that hidden invisible world that you can feel, and then you're letting life force flow through you. Allow yourself to let that life force shine bright and flow through you. Let yourself be the way that you are in the world and stop trying to edit yourself out of the equation. That's going to be so important this May. Here are some of the questions that came up to me when I felt through your energy. Do you actually believe you're allowed to be the way that you are? Without knowing everything, with some of your uncertainties, with the things that you find to be quirky, or even maybe sometimes are categorized as non-functional or an irritant. Are you allowed to just let yourself be the way you are? What would happen? What's the scenario you think will happen if you are just at peace with whatever way that you are in the world and wherever you are right now in your process? Do you think you would still be safe? These are the questions you will be asking, hopefully, and kind of exploring and playing with this month as we move through your birthday season and eclipse season. And the Page of Swords wanted to come up. He is a clarifier. When Page of Swords shows up in your life, this is a time for some really crisp, clear truths. I think the Page of Swords, this is a very youthful energy in the sense that it's not about kind of overthinking it and analyzing it to the point where you take back some of what you really are meaning to do or say or want, and instead just kind of goes for it. So when you're listening into yourself and you're asking these questions about who you are becoming in this year, start with those fresh things that come up and are unedited, unanalyzed, and fresh and raw. You know, when you're journaling and asking who you want to be and what you want to do in this world, follow those initial impulsive sentences and feelings that come out of you, because that's where the really good information is going to be during this time of life path redefining. I love you, Taurus. Have a gorgeous May. Lovely Gemini. Happy birthday, happy Gemini season. We are coming in hot into Gemini season because, of course, right before your season begins, we have eclipse season with eclipses happening in Taurus and Scorpio. This is energy that is very spiritual for you, can really help you get in touch with your soul song, with the part of you that has nothing to do with how it equates and fits into the physical world and what you need to get done and your responsibilities, but it is just truer and freer. So it's a really great time to rest, integrate, explore during this eclipse season, during this Taurus season. But as we move into your energy on May 20th, we are also going to be in the midst of a Mercury retrograde in your sign. And Mercury, your ruling planet, this is a great time to review and to check in with yourself. Because this is your season, this is your time of renewal. And I think Mercury retrogrades are actually so valuable for this kind of work. Some of the questions that came up for me when I felt through Gemini energy was, what is it you have been longing to address in your life that has felt like you could kind of put it off until next year, next month, 6 months from now? What is it that you've been wanting to create or explore, the question you've been wanting to ask that person in your life, or the exploration that you've been wanting to do, but you feel like you're not ready yet or you're not allowed to yet? This is going to be a time to consider exploring it, consider going for it. What is the story you tell yourself about what would happen if you went for it? And can you write a story about it that feels really true to you? I also just want to point out that this month is important too for new cycles beginning, because Jupiter is entering Aries and Venus is entering Aries. And these energies are very much about playing and expanding. And for you, this is going to be a very connective energy and a really wonderful time. 5 of Swords. You got to trust yourself. That's always the message. If 5 of Swords is here, it means at some level there's a part of you that feels like you cannot trust yourself. Maybe you've been shutting down that sense inside of yourself that there's something longing to get out. Maybe you have been not setting healthy boundaries or using too much energy. But whenever we stop trusting ourselves, we stop trusting the people around us, and we stop trusting the world and the energy and our process. So when 5 of Swords shows up, one of your important lessons this month is going to be learning how to trust your own evolution, trust how you are changing, trust your longings, and just get back into communion with yourself. I think that's what this Mercury retrograde is really, really going to be about for you, Gemini. Happy birthday again. I'm so excited. Gemini season is always so dynamic. Have a gorgeous one. Hi, beautiful Cancer family. Oh, this is such a gorgeous month for you all. This is a really deeply spiritual, empowered month. The eclipses are really going to emphasize you shining bright and letting that light just shine through you in your communities, in the connections you make, and also through whatever play and creativity is wanting to explode out of your heart, especially during that Scorpio total lunar eclipse. This is going to be such a revelatory and interesting full moon and eclipse for you to explore what your heart is longing for. And then, of course, we get into Mercury retrograde in Gemini, as well as Gemini season with Mars and a new moon in Gemini happening near the end of the month. This is going to be all about spirit. This is going to be all about exploring your connection to spirit, how you feel safe within that, and where you are getting that kind of those hits of those ideas and those concepts and those next steps that just come out of that magical almost, how did this show up? How does this show up for me? It almost feels like unreal when it does show up. So something wants to shine through you. And that was the main message I got for Cancer family when I looked at May. Something really, really wants to be shared and shined through you. And this is a playful energy. So some of the questions that you can kind of work with and explore during this month are, can you let this powerful creative force that wants to move through you move through you? Is it okay to let it move through you? Is it okay to explore and consider different ways that it wants to move through you and to really listen to it? And, just explore, what is the story you're telling yourself about letting yourself allow this flow to move through you? Are you allowed to do it? Is it scary to do it? Does it feel like you're getting away with something if you do it? Does it feel like you shouldn't do it or you should hold yourself back? And this is a wonderful month, really, really a fantastic month, my friends, to process any of those stories, emotions build up in your body, in your mind about you letting yourself let your spirit flow. This is a wonderful, wonderful month for that. And I'm so excited to see the Cancerian family do that exploration and that play. And the Ace of Pentacles wanted to come out. New beginnings. And there is a kind of sense of renewal in general in May for everyone. For you, this is going to be about accepting gifts, surprise gifts that want to meet you. And that isn't always just going to be in the material world. It could very well be that. This is also the gifts that are given to us in our spirit, in our mind. The things that really nourish us, because Ace of Pentacles is about something that is nourishing us. And this is also an energy of the beginner. So new chapters opening up. I cannot wait to see what happens. As somebody who's married to a Cancer, this is always a fun place to be. So I love you all, and I just really am so excited to see where the adventure takes you. My Leo pride, as always, this is one of the most exciting spots to land in any discussion of an upcoming month, Leos. We got to talk about the fact that you've got to just let yourself be the bright light that you are in your family, in your friend group, in your community, wherever it is that you are showing up. You are probably doing more than you even realize. So this is a month to just let that be the case. It doesn't necessarily mean you have to go around, parading, trying to show people what you're worth. I think what it's more about is that in just being and just showing up, you might feel awkward, you might feel lackluster, you might feel like you're not doing that much or like you need to be pushing to do more. But this month is trying to show you that just by bringing your unique sparkle essence to life, whatever that looks like, is the value. So trusting in that a little bit more, grounding into that a little bit more deeply is so, so important at this time. The eclipses are happening, and this is eclipse season. They're happening in your fellow fixed signs, which means they are challenging you to welcome what it is that is true for your inner home and bring it out into the world, and allowing yourself to have more communication between your hidden self and the external world. Gemini season with a Mercury retrograde happening in Gemini is also going to be a time of expanding friendships, expanding community, expanding exploration, play, and fun. And some of the questions that came up for my beautiful Leo pride, because you all know I'm a Leo. And Leo is an energy that I love so, so deeply. Here are some of the questions. What would happen if you approached life knowing that you have inherent value to all those people around you? How would you act in that mindset if you're just walking down the street and you have this just calm, centered, peaceful sense that you are contributing something to just walking down that street? What would change about your daily, weekly routine? What would change about just that morning that you are in? How would it feel different if you let yourself have that peace? Because we all know with Leos, we can often look very confident on the outside, very sure of ourselves, and on the inside be struggling with our inner child and with the shadow that's saying we're not allowed to be big and bold. And so it's important that we start to really integrate that and start to feel that sense of safety within ourselves and inherent value within the process. 8 of Pentacles is coming up. I love that. At its core, this is about something that has been coming for a long time. Something that you have been building toward, practicing toward, exploring, thinking about. This isn't something that's just happening overnight out of nowhere. This is something that you have been building toward that is wanting to come to fruition and be expressed in the physical world. So May is going to be a month where you're going to be exploring what it is that is ready to burst into its next phase. It's a really exciting time of growth and exploration. And while it is eclipse season and Mercury retrograde, which a lot of people say this is not a time for action or exploration, I disagree. This is just a time to get really honest. And I'm so excited to see where the road leads my gorgeous Leo friends. Okay, gorgeous Virgo family. Y'all know I'm a Virgo moon, so this is home for me. This gets personal every time we explore this energy, but here we go. May is going to be so much about your life philosophy and coming back to it, connecting with it, noticing what your life philosophy is right now and kind of tweaking it and brushing up on what it is you want it to be. These eclipses, both in Taurus and Scorpio, are about expanding into the macro lens of your life and kind of moving through a sense of trust. Taurus season especially is going to ask you to get less focused on the details and the hows of how everything is going to play out, and get a lot more focused on the feeling of it and relaxing into it and just getting into a state of deep trust and kind of philosophical trust. So it's a great time to read some supportive and optimistic work. Of course, your ruling planet is also doing a retrograde this month as it moves through Gemini, and we're going to have Gemini season as well at the same time. So this is going to be energy that is about redefining your road, redefining what you're bringing to the table of life. And I think, once again, this all ties back to you trusting in a bigger something holding you, where you do not have to be the only moving piece in the organism that is making it happen. And I know that can be challenging, that can be scary. And that's why some of the questions that came up for me are these. What would you do differently if you just knew and felt at that deep level that there was a larger plan holding you and you didn't always have to be in charge of how it played out? What would you enjoy more of? What would you explore more of? What would you change about your schedule? What would you just go for? What would you just let go of if you just knew you weren't the only one in charge of everything working perfectly in the world, right? This is going to be what I want you to meditate on this month a little bit and just give yourself some space and breath, because Virgo, we got to take care of your beautiful, beautiful hearts. You know, you don't need to I don't want you putting yourself through the ringer, trying to fix it all and make it all okay all the time. High Priestess, hello. When she shows up, she's an initiator. She almost always is initiating some kind of different cycle. And this is also a month, not only with the eclipses and with Mercury retrograde, but where Jupiter is beginning its new 12-year cycle in Aries starting on May 10th. This is a new cycle. There are initiations happening. Aries energy is going to be very transformational for you all. This is also about trusting your spirit. This is also about trusting your intuition and relying a lot less heavily on the black and white fine print control, ceding a little bit of that control and getting curious. She will always, always ask that of you when she shows up. So this is time to let go of some of that tightness and that clenching and relax into life a little bit more. That's it. I love you, Virgo. Libran friends. All right. So this is a season of hitting your growth edge. May in general is just full of leaves being turned over. It's time to turn the page. We have eclipse season, which for you all is about stepping out of the familiar motivations that normally would make you feel worthy or make sense in the world. It's going to be time to reevaluate that, check in with that, think about what it is that truly motivates you and not what you feel like you're forcing or pressing yourself to do. Those eclipses are really going to help you heal any motivations that were trained into you as a young child or at another time in your life when you were trying to survive. This is also a very beautiful month for you when it comes to relationships and connections as Jupiter and Venus move into your opposing sign of Aries. It's going to be such a time of you opening up and being vulnerable. But once again, growth edge there as well, because in getting closer to people and being known, we also show the parts of ourselves that we may be more nervous to see exposed or to share, feeling that may be the reason people leave if we don't have our perfect presentation on, right, Libra? As a Libra midheaven, I get this. It's also going to be Mercury retrograde season and Gemini season this month. And this is about thinking outside the box for you all. going wild with the big expansive vision. So Gemini season and Mercury retrograde have a very different feel than a lot of the eclipse action we were just talking about, where they're asking you to relax and expand your lens and see what wants to come in the bigger picture. It's all about bigger picture energy this May. And you'll be noticing that you may be refining and changing what that bigger picture is for you and what you want it to look like. It can be a really, really great time to open your heart and your mind to some of the new energies that want to join you and be surprised by some of those new energies during Gemini season. So some of the questions that I think would be really helpful to work with during this May are, for my Libran friends, who would you be if you let go of all the expectations you have of yourself and that you think others have of you? What if you just let those go? What would happen? This is a fun imagination exercise. It's a challenging one too. What would change immediately without that performance pressure? Would there be routines, obligations, boundaries that would just immediately shift if suddenly you didn't have to perform? Knight of Swords. Honesty. Sometimes brutal honesty. I will admit, Knight of Swords is not the most tactful energy, but when you get Knight of Swords, what this is about is cutting to the chase. It's cutting to the core truth that's wanting to be expressed by you. Once again, this is vulnerable. This is growth edge stuff. It's asking for you to just get right to the core of the thing that you have not been wanting to maybe look at. Maybe it's made you a little nervous. Maybe it's made you nervous to think about saying it or doing it or exploring it or even acknowledging it within yourself. But Knight of Swords is going to ask you to open that door this month. I'm so curious to see what the Libran experience is in May. I hope it's gorgeous, my friends. Hello, gorgeous Scorpio friends. You know this is going to be a powerful and potent month for you. It is Taurus season, which means you are exploring and thinking about who you are from new perspectives. It's also eclipse season, which deeply involves you with a full moon, total lunar eclipse happening in your sign. So this is about personal evolution. This is about a change of season in life. This is about coming into some new understandings of who you are. And this also has to do with that South Node work in your sign, where it's about activating scorpionic energy in ways that it has not explored before, using it in new ways, exploring it in new ways, and experiencing it in ways that you may have never experienced before, which includes greater warmth and comfort for all of you. This is about also asking for help during this eclipse season and allowing others to hold you and care for you when you might normally be the one trying to hold and care for everyone else. As we move through Gemini season and Mercury retrograde in Gemini, this is about dissolving kind of who you've decided you are. Who you've decided, this is who I am, this is how it's got to be, and just allowing yourself to be open to the surprise of who wants to come out and join you. New energy is tapping at the back of your mind. It's like a phone call that you can hear ringing just really vaguely in a back room somewhere, but it keeps getting louder until it's just ringing. And you'll be noticing that this kind of energy is building for you the entire month of May, even as we move into Gemini season and out of eclipse season and out of some of the more personal evolution energy that may be going on at this time. So some of the questions that are coming up when I look at Scorpio's energy this month is, what hidden dreams have you been pushing down or keeping at bay? You know, what is a secret longing that is waiting for a chance to bask in the sunlight, that is waiting for a chance to play and frolic in this world? This is going to be a month that is so wonderful for exploring these questions, getting curious about who you are, Scorpio, you know, without all the expectations, without all the containers that you may have put around yourself. This is a really wonderful time to do just that. The Strength card came up, your fellow fixed sign of Leo. So this is an energy that is about knowing that you don't have to push hard all of the time. It's okay to be gentle and kind with yourself. You know, Scorpio, you have such an intense, powerful energy, and you will push yourselves as hard as you can go. if given the chance. It will just, I've seen it. I've seen the intensity. I've experienced it. And the strength card is about the strength of also taking seasons where you just observe, you allow yourself to hear and see your strength from new perspectives and not always feel like you have to be putting yourself on full blast. I think this is a really wonderful time to observe yourself and how you are changing, and to know that that is inherently magic and beautiful and perfect too. So there's your reminder, and I am just so curious to see what this eclipse season brings us all. I know you probably are as well. So we'll see what happens. Sagittarius, yes, here we are. You all know how I feel about you. I could wax on for hours, but I am so excited about this month because, okay, yes, it's eclipse season. We got the Taurus solar eclipse. We got the Scorpio lunar eclipse. These are activating for you, my Sagittarius friends, your spiritual core. For me, this really highlights and activates an aspect of Sagittarian trust and optimism that is one of my favorite things about being a part of this energetic collective, which is getting back to that really, really happy, trusting place where it's kind of like you're just flowing with what comes, what surprises come, what doors open up, and you're so relaxed that you are allowing in what wants to come in. And I know eclipses, often people are like, you gotta look out, you gotta stay tense. For me, I'm actually recommending the opposite, which is to get relaxed, get into self-trust, get back into that optimism, good feeling, because this is about your whole energetic field, not just about what you can control or what you feel like you need to fix in your life. This is also going to be a month of Gemini season and a Mercury retrograde in Gemini, your opposing sign. And this is so great for getting closer and deeper in your connections, your communications, your relationships, getting honest, having really deep, true conversations, which I think will actually open up a lot of doors. It will get you clear on where you're headed the rest of this season, as we move into summer in the northern hemisphere, winter in the southern hemisphere. And the main keynote that came up every time I felt through this energy was that this is a reconnection with spirit and in the world in new ways, and opening up your telescope again, Saggies. This is a time to open up your telescope, open up your heart, and get back into that floating spirit again. And I'm so curious what is going to come of that. And the questions that came up for this month are, what is your wild spirit longing for? What would you like to trust more of in this life? What would you like to relax about more and invite more in of? How would you like to deepen your relationships? So in general, this is about if you don't have to be on guard all the time, if you are just able to be in that relaxed, happy, kind of optimal state that is Saggy energy, what then? What does that feel like? What's flowing through? Getting curious about that, being really open to it. We're still recovering from that South Node work in Sagittarius, I feel, and this is a really wonderful time to clarify and get back in touch. So 7 of Cups. You know, this card is really interesting. This is a dreamer card. This is about getting outside of the physical limitations, well, this is what I got to do and this is my schedule, and just dreaming. So take some extra time to go up in the clouds, get fantastical, get optimistic, explore what dreams you want to put down. 7 of Cups for me is about just getting a journal out, getting paper out every day and writing your dreams down and not editing them, not trying to close them down, but also be really honest. Don't try and write dreams that are these poisonous cups, because those will never feel quite right. So you want to be really, really honest, but really, really open. I am so curious to see what this eclipse season and this Mercury retrograde season brings. Oh, I also wanted to mention Jupiter is moving into Aries this month as well, which is going to be great for Saggies and their creative heart and abundance. So I'm so excited. And we'll be talking about Jupiter and Aries in more depth in upcoming chats. So have a gorgeous May, my friends. Hey, Capricorn. Ooh, Taurus season is always a really, really wonderful energy for Capricorn. This is going to light up your heart, flow with you really, really beautifully. And of course, this Taurus season is an eclipse season, which means that we are needing to open up to how we are changing and transforming, all of us. For you, Capricorns, this is about sparks going off in your heart. What is just wanting to explode forth? This is about trusting yourselves more and trusting the playful calling that is waiting in your heart. This month, we also have Jupiter moving into Aries, which illuminates how to make your home world really loving and soothing for you, and a place that can really anchor you and help you expand out into the world. And then, of course, we move into Gemini season, Mercury retrograde. All of this beautiful energy is about anchoring in. So you're going to have all these hits of energy and insight from eclipse season. And then Gemini season and even the Mercury retrograde are going to help you get really specific about how you want to anchor in the things that are calling from your heart. If it's a pottery class for fun, if it's getting an extra hour of sleep, if it's letting go of a commitment, how are you going to really prioritize and anchor in the calling that is going on in your heart? And a lot of times we can start, especially when we're working with Gemini energy like this, with the small details. We don't have to overhaul our whole lives, but how are we going to start anchoring in those deeper truths in just the little details of a single day? How can we add in that 5 minutes that makes a difference? So this is about you making meaningful ritual out of being here in the physical, which sometimes can feel really intense, but it can start off small. So some of the questions that came to mind when I felt through your energy for this season of retrograde and eclipses and shift: what is it you want to be a part of your day? Can you allow yourself to prioritize those things, those items, those experiences that you want to be a part of your day, including sitting still and doing nothing, might I add? What beliefs do you have about why you can or cannot prioritize the things awakening in your heart? Maybe you feel like your worthiness in life is tied to giving to other people all the time and ignoring yourself. Maybe you feel like it's a frivolous thing that that's calling to you. There are a lot of ways that we write stories around what it is we are really being asked to prioritize, and it's time to let those stories go. The Hermit, the truth seeker. The Hermit is about a deep inner truth. A lot of times people think this card is about staying home and never socializing again, but that is neither here nor there. It has nothing to do with the Hermit. The Hermit is the wisdom. It is the lantern inside of ourselves that is showing us something important that we should not be ignoring. He is the guide that shows us through the tunnels of our own minds and hearts. So when the Hermit shows up, this is about getting really honest and a light being shown on a part of yourself that needs and wants and deserves attention. So Capricorn, it's time to give it that attention. May is going to show you that over and over again, and I'm so curious to see what that feels like for you all. Hello, Aquarius. So the main thing that came up time and again whenever I looked at your energy for May was that there is something hidden that wants to be let out. There's a communion between a hidden inner world, a hidden inner landscape that you have been building, communing with for a long time. And there's some aspect of that wants to be out in the world with others, splashing color into the world. And eclipse season this year has a lot to do with that for most of us, but you all are having that in really, really powerful ways. Taurus season in general and eclipse season is going to be about what home is to you. And that could be about like the physical location, but for me, that's about what it feels like, what it looks like, what it smells like, what it involves, what is the routine, what is the space, what is the feeling of it, what is the warmth of it, and are there shifts that need to be made in order for you to honor what is home for you and letting yourself be yourself. But on top of that, even past Taurus season, eclipse season, we're moving into Gemini energy and Mercury retrograde. And this is where those secret projects, those secret longings are wanting to be made into the world. Gemini energy is all about playing and exploring. And a Mercury retrograde, while a lot of people think of that as kind of like a time where things are stalled and nothing can be done, for me, these are the times we get the most honest with ourselves and the most likely to take action in ways that make sense to who we truly are. And this is about creative renewal for Aquarians. So this is about doing things differently and trying things out in a little bit of a different way. And some of the questions that came up for me in exploring this topic for you all is there an aspect of life you haven't let yourself explore, but you're longing to explore it? Does your home environment feel like it fits you? And would you change it if you could? Because there's a feeling in the air for Aquarians of there being some shifts in that department, and there being some review of how home looks like and how you're sharing your art and creativity in the world. 5 of Pentacles. All right, so this is really interesting. This is a card that so many of us move with. 5 of Pentacles at its core is you're allowed to feel safe and held and connected to something. You do not need to keep holding yourself in alienation. And a lot of times, we'll judge ourselves harshly if we've been through a phase where maybe we haven't felt as connected, or we haven't felt like we've let ourselves, share that hidden longing. And so we've put it away too long, and now we have to judge and shame ourselves and lock ourselves out of the warmth of home. But the 5 of Pentacles is here to remind you, first of all, to take care of the part of yourself that feels unworthy of whatever beauty wants to come in. And secondly, to remember that you are welcome in at any time. When 5 of Pentacles comes up, I just want to say this is a really good time to take care of the part of yourself that's living in the haunted house. Take care of your nervous system. Do deep breathing. Listen to the part of yourself that is worried or scared about shifts or change, and take care of them, because that will liberate you to be more in your playful, beautiful Aquarian spirit. And that's what we want. It doesn't mean that 5 of Pentacles is telling you May is going to be a month of drudgery and financial hardship. What it's saying is that sometimes we just don't feel safe in this world. And that is normally an indication that there's something we need to take care of inside of ourselves, that we deserve to get support and love, and that we also deserve to feel it from the inside out. And that is really the core message. But it is a time of highlighting home and creativity and going for it. I can't wait to see what that is looking like for Aquarians this month. Hi, my beautiful Pisces friends. Okay, so eclipse season is going to be highlighting something that wants to be expressed, explored, painted, chatted about, written down, taken from the hidden invisible world and just put into the world. It doesn't have to be perfect. It doesn't need to be shared with everybody in the whole world. It doesn't need to become your next big project, but there's something that needs creative expression, and it is just waiting inside of you. And eclipse season is going to help you connect with that and bring it out more. This is a great time during eclipse season to make a plan about your creation and to focus on small practices to allow yourself to start flexing that muscle and bringing it more into the physical world. Gemini season and Mercury retrograde are also going to be really, really helpful. And the main thing that came up for me with Pisces during this time of Mercury retrograde and the movement through Gemini season is to clear out cobwebs and clutter and stagnant energy, literally in your home, but also maybe in your mental processes. This is a great time to just create some spaces and some spaciousness. And you'll be noticing that's going to be a big, big theme for you throughout the course of May, actually. And it's one of the ways we actually get more creative is when we just take a little bit of time to create more spaciousness in our life and let go of things that maybe we've been holding on to or clutching onto, not being able to let go of the past. This is a really great time to do a little bit of work on that. I also just wanted to mention that Jupiter is leaving your sign this month on May 10th and moving into Aries. It will have a little reunion with you in a few months, but for right now, we are shifting gears a little bit. So this is also going to be a wonderful time to reflect on what Jupiter in your sign, the first 4 or 5 months of this year, have felt like for you, and what you've gained from it, what you've learned from it, how your perspective may have shifted. A wonderful time to incorporate your lessons from Jupiter. Some of the questions that came up for me when I felt through Piscean energy. What would you like to share with the world? What are some cluttered areas of your life or mind that you dream of feeling becoming simple, clear, and peaceful? What is longing to be released? It's so funny, sometimes you'll just have that little box of things, maybe projects that you thought you might do, or just mementos from like a boyfriend from when you were like 24 or something. A card already wanted to come out. 2 cards, Emperor and the Star. Very strong energies of determination and fate. The Emperor and the Star are both about something that is already really crystal clear, wanting to come into focus for you. And so this isn't so much about micromanaging it and getting it all sorted out as much as it is about making the space for it, listening in, and taking the necessary action. These are very, very strong, bold energies that are not about sitting in the past and ruminating over and over again about anything, which leads me back to what I was trying to say, which is, you have that funny little box of things or that little corner of stuff that you just, for some reason, you're like, oh, I can't face looking into that. But then as soon as you let it go, as soon as you sort through it for 30 minutes, suddenly realize how light and free you feel. That's very much the feeling of May. But also there's this feeling of fate and meetings and connections that I'm just noticing here in these cards. So this is also a time where new horizons are opening up and things are wanting to really, in a very real physical sense, come into being. So I'm really curious to see how that will feel. Love you, Piscean friends, and I hope you have a beautiful May. Okay, that was so challenging to condense down my thoughts and feelings about each sign into these really little kernels. Did it work? I don't know. I honestly, the thing with me right now, and if you happen to be one of the few people probably sitting to the end of this, is I'm really just trying new things out. I don't want to hold myself back just because I think, well, maybe it won't work. I want to see what happens if I try out a completely different technique. And if it doesn't work out, like for me, that's still success because this is the creative process. It's not just these beautiful, perfect finished products that you wait years for to share. That's only one way. The reality of creativity is so much more about the messy in between, and instead of fighting that, being with it. So that's part of what this was all about. But I also felt like I had some things I wanted to share about May, and I still wanted to connect with each sign. So maybe we'll do this again, see what happens. It's going to continue to be an adventure. But what I will say is that we are going to come back around to Jupiter in Aries. We are going to come back around to Mercury retrograde. We are going to come back around to these eclipses. So we will get in depth with every single one of those in the coming weeks. So we aren't just going to skirt around them and then move on. There will be more. So I look forward to seeing there. I would love it if you would subscribe and stick around. It's so amazing to have you here on this weird, wacky, wild journey of me reclaiming and connecting with energy in new ways. Talk to you soon, friends.